Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News Access Rotation. However, the flip you know me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick recap of what happened during week 3 of stage 3 of the CDL, going into our stage 3 major hosted by the Miami Heretics in Boca Raton, Florida. Now, I know that was a mouthful, but just stay with me here, guys. We kicked things off this week, or last week, with the Miami Heretics taking on the Toronto Ultra in our kickoff for week 3. And of course, I had to start off with a little red. So, yeah, the Toronto Ultra took this one in dominant fashion. I'm going to pull up the match. I can't remember what they ended up taking. Yeah, I remember it being a pretty close series. So, they took the Vault Hardpoint 250 to 240. Series MVP was Toby Kleenex. He's actually been having a resurgence towards the back half of the season, which is really good for Ultra. That's why they've been doing so well, honestly. So, map 1 on Vault. Kleenex dropped 36 for the dub. Love that for him. Rancor dropped 34. And then Metals 21-37. He had a rough one. So, that was probably the difference maker there, right? And then map 2, Dealership S&D. They got it back. Real with 11 and 8. Great performance from him. Kleenex had the duel 11 and 8, but Real was the victor here. Map 3, Vault Control. We had the Ultra taking a 3-1 over the Miami Heretics behind 28 and 18 from Kleenex. And then on the other side, Real was the only one who really put up a strong effort with 22 and 21. Then in the map 4 Protocol Control, Ultra just closed it out with a dominant 250 to 190 performance behind 30 from Joe. And then on the other side, Super dropped 31, so you got to tip that. In our next series, we had the Boston Breach taking on the Cloud9 New York boys, and they got door dashed in record time. Not a lot to say about that. In our next series, more of the same. The Battle of LA. The LA Thieves just added another tally to the series score all time, and they just absolutely sent the Gorillas back home in record time. So, looking at our next match, the first to kick off Saturday, we're going to check out the box score for this one because it was a really good one. We had the Vancouver Surge going up against C9 New York, and C9 looked like a totally different team than when they played Boston. So, they oddly played down to their competition a lot of times. So, I just don't get this team. So, looking at the box score, our series MVP was who but 04, right? 04 dropped 107 kills with only 84 deaths. Dude was going absolutely nuts. And then on the other side, Sib was oh my god, 117 and 89. Like, someone please get this man some help. Let's look at the map 1, 250 to 231 in favor of the Cloud9 New York boys. They had a really cohesive effort from everybody on the team. Attached with 31 is honestly great for him. He's been playing kind of slow this year, so his engagements have been pretty low most of the time. 31 kills is actually phenomenal for him. Kremp with 30, Mac with 21 and 32, and then Sib with a 39 bomb. Jesus Christ. And then on the other side, 04 put up 34, but, wasn't good enough for the dub. Looking at the map 2, red card S&D, we had 04, Abuza, and Nasty all dropping 8 kills, and then Neptune dropping 9 for the win in the round 11. And then on the C9 side, you had Sib dropping 13 for the L. Dude, I would have been absolutely heated. Like, I would have been fried. I would have been like, bro, Mac, what was going on, brother? Attach. 2 more kills. Anything. A little bit more damage. We win that. Crimp. Good job, actually. Map 3, Hacienda Control. We had the C9 boys surprisingly taking this one. I mean, I say surprisingly, but they're a good Hacienda team. So seeing 2 Haciendas in this series, realistically, those were the 2 maps in this series that C9 had the best chance to take, and they did. Looking at it, honestly, it was just a good showing from both teams. Like, no one really did that badly. You can see on the C9 side, you just got really great performances from Mac and Sib. And then on the other side, 04 did his very best, but, just wasn't enough. Map 4, Skyline, Hardpoint, of course. 04 dropped 32 for the dub, and Abuza's right there with him with 31. And on the other side, on C9, you just had rough games for everybody that wasn't Sib. Sib was 33 and 26. Everybody else was negative. So, yeah, it was really just the free Sib series. Looking at the Vancouver Surge's Protocol S&D, it was just free. Neptune dropped 10, Nasty 5, Abuza 6, and 04 6. So, yeah, that's all she wrote, and that's how they got it done 3-2. In the next series, we had the Miami Heretics taking on the Minnesota Rokkr. Speaking of 3-2s or expected ones, we had the Minnesota Rokkr losing in 3-1 fashion. The Miami Heretics just got them out of there pretty quickly. Miami's looking really good going into their major, and Minnesota, I have so many questions and so few answers. In the next matchup, we had the Toronto Ultra taking on the LA Gorillas. And yeah, this one went exactly how I expected to. 3-1 for the Toronto Ultra. Not really a lot to talk about here. I believe the Gorillas took the control. They took the Hacienda hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen. I was absolutely wrong. So, yeah, just an uncharacteristic Hacienda hardpoint is the lone map they took in the series. That's why I said it would be a 3-1. I felt the girls would take something. I just thought they were much improved, but I guess not. Looking at the next series of the weekend, we had Atlanta Faze taking on the Vegas Falcons. Surprisingly, this one was actually for winners bracket. Going into this, both teams were 2-2. So whoever won this would be, what were they going into this? They were 2-1 because they lost both. So they were 2-1, clearly. So they were 2-1 going into this. They ended up obviously 2-3, as you guys can surmise. And they didn't make winners bracket because they lost Faze. So if they won this, they would have had both the head to head and they would have had a 3-2 edge, which ended up being enough for them to make winners bracket at the end of the day. So looking at the series, we had a really close one. This was actually really fun just because the addition of Pred, RCDs, and of course Priesta made this a really interesting grudge match. Obviously, you know RCDs and Priesta are both former Atlanta Faze players if you've been watching CDL for a while. Priesta played for Atlanta Faze in Modern Warfare, and RCDs played for Faze in Cold War and Vanguard, and then he was replaced by Slasher in Modern Warfare 2. So going into this series, I really expected Faze to get a 3-2 victory here. I thought the Falcons would take both hard points. They almost did. Looking at the series MVP, of course, Celium. No surprise, right? I mean, dude's just been unreal in the back half of this year. 84 and 64 KD. Draza was like doing pretty well, 91 and 79 KD. And then on the other side, Pred, 98 and 78 is crazy against Faze. So he had a really great series. Look at the map one. This is where Pred started his series. 35 and 19 is nuts. 1.84 is BTA on unseen levels. And then on the other side, on for the Faze boys, Draza and Simp had uncharacteristically bad games. And then on the other side, Abizi and Selling did pretty decently, all things considered. Then Priesta, Exnid, and RCs just had pretty solid games for the Falcons, and that's how they got it done. Map 2, dealership S&D, Faze took it personal, and they won 6-0. I mean, Simp just went nuts. 8-3 is crazy. 7-2 from Draws, 4-3 from Cell, and 5-2 from Abizi. They just absolutely dominated this one. And then they went to the protocol control and dominated a little bit more. 29 from Cell is nuts. 18-11 from Simp. 24-19 from Draws, and 16-14 from Abizi. And then on the other side, everybody's just negative, so it is what it is. Map 4, red card, hardpoint was way more respectable. 40-30 from Pred is crazy. And then on the other side, you had 34-24 from Celium. And, excuse me, allergies got to me. And a 40 bomb from Draza as well, but he was 40-29. So, yeah, that's insane. So, yeah, Faze got this one done in insane fashion. I might have a clip from this. I'm not sure. Maybe I was watching the HCS. I think I clipped this, probably. But yeah, this is a great series. Definitely go back and check it out if you missed it. If you guys didn't know, I was watching the HCS all weekend on the watch party along with CDL in bits and pieces. But definitely more HCS because it was just a banger weekend. The Optic boys won. Formal got a dub for the first time in like 2 years. And actually, my predictions for most of the event were right. Number 5, LG lost to number 12, Complexity. And then a lot of the other things I said would happen in the tournament did. So, yeah, if you missed that video, go check it out. And it was a really fun video to record. But great tournament, great turnout. And yeah, definitely check out any of the VOD if you missed some of the Halo matches. So yeah, in our first matchup of Sunday, we had the Vegas Falcons take on the Boston Breach. You guys know I thought this color-coded series would go the way of the Vegas Falcons. I thought they were the better green team at this point in the season, but I was very wrong, ladies and gents. Let's check out how and why. So it went 3-2 in favor of the Boston Breach, as you guys could see. It wasn't necessarily like an embarrassing series for the Falcons. They lost round 11 in game 5, so it couldn't have been closer. And we started off with a close map one. Well, let's look at the series overview. The MVP was actually Cammy in this series. And yeah, looking at his scoreline, you can see why he had a 1.18. He was clearly the reason why Boston won, right? And on the other side, Pred was clearly the MVP for the Vegas Falcons with 101 kills, 97 deaths. Map 1 Skyline went the way of Vegas. Looking at the flow chart, it's one of the closest that we've seen this year. Like, this game was so close going into like the fourth, fifth, and sixth hills, and then from there on, it just never stopped being neck and neck. So this is a really great map to kick things off. And then Vegas, in response to the 6-0 that they suffered from Faze the day before, they decided to 6-0 the Boston Breach on Rewind S&D. Cammy surprisingly went 8-6 in this one, but everybody else on his team got absolutely tucked to bed good night. And Priesta was the one to provide the pillow with an 8-3 scoreline, followed by his teammates Exit and Pred both having 6, excuse me. In the map 3 control on Vault, the Boston Breach got their get back. They won 3-1. Cammy went 34-21. He went absolutely nuclear on them. Pred tried his very, very best with 27-22, but the Boston Breach boys were just shooting. And then we ran it back on Vault again for the hard point map 4. So it went 250 to 156 in favor of the Boston Breach boys to force a game 5. Snoopy dropped 41. Holy cow. And Purge was right there with him with 32 and 28. And then on the Vegas Falcons side, you had everybody pretty much showing, you had everybody going negative. So, it is what it is. So here we go into the game 5. Let's look at this one. Honestly, it was a banger game 5. It couldn't have been closer. Like, looking at it, the kills were even. The first bloods obviously can't be even if you go to round 11. The plants, he had 8 plants. It's actually a lot. So this is a very like methodical S&D, like looking at it from just the stats, right? So looking at it, obviously Exted and Pred, the new duo, they went nuts. Exton dropped 12, Pred dropped 10. And then on the other side, Purge and Snoopy, the other SMG duo, dropped 9 and 12 respectively. So it's pretty much the same scoreline from the SMGs. And yeah, clearly the Boston Breach walked out of this with the stronger SMG duo, even though the kills were even, right? So this was a great series. If you missed it, definitely go check out all these matches, all these maps, because this was a banger. Definitely one of the best of the weekend. Now, in our second to last matchup of the weekend, we had Optic Texas taking on Atlanta Faze in a matchup that's really, really, really one sided at this point. So looking at it, Optic kicked off the map 1 Hacienda Hardpoint really hot with a 250 to 143 performance. So let's look at the series overview first. Our MVP was none other than the CEO, Draza. Of course, he's the CEO of that org, right? He's 16 and 3 all time against Optic, I believe. I think in his, looking at it, he was 88 and 80, so he did 1.1. Great KD. And then Dashy absolutely fried. 1.2 on the series is nuts. Looking at it in map 1, Optic got off to a really hot start, 250 to 143, but they were not able to chain that into the Hacienda map 2 because Faze was able to take it 6-5 behind 12 and 7 from Simp. And then on the other side, I mean, everybody on Optic was shooting in this S&D, with the exception of Hook. He was 4 and 7, but he did his thing. Like, he had 1,000 damage, so he wasn't doing bad. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty much even series across the board in most of these maps, except for the game 3 in the game 1. So, well, only half the maps. It really wasn't that even, I guess. It was lopsided, in control, and hardpoint. And then this S&D and this Vault couldn't have been closer. But the other two maps were, pretty one sided. But looking at it, the map 3, it was pretty one sided, like I said. So BZ 26-21, everybody else on Phase positive, and Optic, except for Dashy, was, negative. But not that negative, except for Skies. Looking at the map 4, it couldn't have been closer, right? It's a 6-point game. And looking at the flow chart, it was pretty back and forth for the most part. Then Optic pulled away at some point. Faze was able to miraculously rebound in the back half of the game and then take it. As you guys can see, they were within like 24 here, and then they crept up within 7, and then within 15, and then within 12, and then they won by 6. So, yeah, it was a pretty wild game. Optic actually outslayed them, and they actually outdid them damage-wise just by a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, they had the longest hold and the highest lead. So, realistically, this should have been an Optic win in a game 5, but FaZe just clutched up. They're definitely one of the best teams in the back half of any game or any hard point in the CDL. So, in our last matchup, we had an absolute DoorDash. I thought it'd be a 3-2. I thought maybe Rex would like put up a pretty decent fight against the LA Thieves in his debut match, but it is LA Thieves. That's a lot to ask of a player coming straight out of Challengers. So yeah, guys, that also about wrap it up for me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Join the Discord if you want to join for some games or just like know when I'm posting content or any of that stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, like I said before. And I will definitely be sure to update you guys before I go live for the weekend. So be sure to come back for the Pick'ems video to know when I'm going to be streaming this weekend for the major. And also be sure to be on the lookout for my recap of the Halo HCS event. I don't know when I'm going to post that, probably like Wednesday or so. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, like I said before. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News or Extra, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.